All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm joined with Alpha Warrior, and Ronnie Boy, Partain. Um, my favorite trio, I guess, the Three Musketeers now. So lots to talk about. Financial crash looming. It's like we're in the middle of it already in the middle of it. And we're going to touch on that just a little bit, folks, and also talk about NATO exercises being carried out. What are they going to be used for? We're going to barely touch on that, and then we're going to finish up on Nino's Corner.tv because we were just talking before I started recording. I was like, man, this cannot go on Fluff Dude. It's too much. So let's tread lightly on that, but give my YouTube audience what they want, and then go back to the back channel and dive deep, balls deep. All right, Alpha, man, good to see you back. It's been a while.
Absolutely, man. I love being here. Coming off the heartache of my Niners taking a scripted loss, but
Dude,
that's
I'm starting to believe that now. Like, I don't know. I didn't believe it before, but ugh.
my buddy sent me a picture or a video, not a picture, and it's from the overtime, and it's when okay, I thought that was me. It was in overtime, and it's when Brock Purdy just overthrows his man in the end zone. I think it might have been Debo he was throwing. I don't remember if it was RIU, but anyways, he just overthrows him. It's a game winner. Game, that's gonna win the game. But he just overthrows him. The reason he just overthrows him is the right tackle, the one that was going up against Jones. Nothing to take away Jones. The guy's gonna be a Hall of Famer, defensive lineman. But you're going against a Hall of Famer. All you have to do is just stand in front of him. Even if it's the worst block you ever did in your career, you just stand in front of him, make yourself a speed bump, and that extra second and a half, Brock Purdy throws a touchdown pass. And when you watch the video, he just goes and he just turns and just lets him go by.
Wow. So you're
I'm like,
saying basically, are we saying that like fighters throw fights? They used to be accused of that. We're saying football players throwing plays.
I
That's
think
what
they're
you're saying. That's what you're so like they're throwing plays. That's the best way to say it.
well. I would think they're throwing plays, but who's the Arian Foster? He did an interview, I think like 2 years ago. He went on a big podcast, and he just starts he throws the NFL under the rug. He says, "Hey, we don't practice." He goes, "We do the WWE." He goes,
Mhm.
Come
"We
on, man.
we practice a script." So he lays it out, talks about the refs. I mean, he just lays it out.
I have no doubt and I have no doubt in believing that in a sense that the refs throw games and they lean a certain way, but dude, some of these and maybe some players do here and there, like, but I don't see it like all
He,
being WWE scripted.
he's saying that they're not throwing it. He says it's scripted. All the practices are scripted.
I
He says
have
that.
a buddy, I have my friend's one of the head coaches.
Here's
You
the thing.
don't
Arian Foster.
you don't need
Hold on,
everybody.
hold on, real quick,
I
Lauren.
know that's true.
Arian Foster's, for those that don't know him, he's not just some player. Like, he's a Hall of Famer. The guy led the league. He was a running back. I mean, the guy is an amazing NFL player. Now, here's the kicker. A few months later, he goes back on the podcast and he's like, "Hey, I was joking about everything. It was all fake. I was just trying to get, it was clickbait." Like,
Yeah.
it's like someone said, "Hey."
I'll tell you, I have friend. I'm a pro athlete. I've been a pro athlete all my life, and also well, since I was 20, right? Pro in boxing. And I'll tell you, I've had one guy approach me to take a dive, and I told him to get lost. I was like, "Get out of here!" He came in my dressing room, offered me 20 grand to do it. I was like, "Cash." He's like, "Please, we got to make this guy hit the ranks. We want him to move up." And I was like, "Get out of here, bye." And I said, "No, you can say no." And I went out there and knocked the guy dead, like ugly. But the thing is this: I have friends also that play baseball, basketball, pro football, and I won't name their names. And I have one friend who's now an offensive line coach uh, for a team, a big team, an NFL team, and we talk about this stuff all the time. And he's just like, it's he finds it very degrading because he's like, dude, we work our asses off. He's like, every player out there is busting their ass. And he goes, is there shitbags in every sport? And he goes, yeah, dude. But he goes, we're not out there scripting this. It's just the way it is. It's just that they're playing hard, but there's some people that are just shitbags. Just like in everything,
Mhm.
You got your bad apples and everything. That's how I see it. I have people in the game. I know people that are playing. So to me, I understand it on a different level. It's like when I used to knock out a guy with a shot that didn't look that hard, but it was just the right shot at the precise time. And people would be like, "Oh, that guy took a dive." I'm like, "Dude, fuck you." Like, no, dude, and I could let me crack you one time like that, like, so it's like that, and people, it's
Well, can I I was curious about this. We all know who about that the NBA ref was it Donahue or Donahue or whatever his name was, and he came out and talked about how a lot of the NBA games are rigged. But I was curious about some of this stuff, and I went I got into a battle with a buddy of mine who's from Kansas City, and I kept telling him that the game was rigged from a couple years ago, and he just whatever. Well, so I went on YouTube and I looked to see if I could find something, and I found something that was very interesting, and it was like all of these players who were talking about the NFL games being rigged, and the three Super Bowls that they focused on specifically was Super Bowl III with the Colts, who were overwhelming favorites against the Jets, and Joe Namath. That was the Joe Namath guaranteed win, right? And the guy who was, and that was at the time when the AFL was basically like, it was like college football compared to the NFL. The AFL was like college ranks, and the NFL was like professionals, and they were cleaning their clocks. Well, the owner of the Colts, he postulates that the owner of the Colts who bet against the Colts in that game, through the game with the quarterback, was like saying the quarterback had many times that he could have thrown touchdowns, and he didn't. He missed players. He missed wide open receivers multiple times, and it was because the NFL basically with the Packers in Super Bowls I and II destroyed the AFL. And then when the AFL won Super Bowl III, that actually made it relevant, because had the NFL cleaned the clock of the Jets in that game, we would not have the NFL of today. And it was very interesting. So then there was another couple, there was two more, but the other one was the game against the 49ers, not the 49ers, but remember when Gruden got traded from the Raiders to the coach? He got traded from the Raiders to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then like 2 years later, the Buccaneers played the Raiders in the Super Bowl. You remember that?
I do remember that.
It was like 2000, I think, 98 or 2000 or something like that. And the Buccaneers just destroyed the Raiders. Well, Callahan basically had he had an offense that they were going to run on Tuesday, and then on Friday he changed his mind. And then I don't know how well you remember this, but the All-Pro center for the Raiders went missing the night before the game. And there was a whole bunch of things that are really, really suspicious. And then there was another game, but anyway, suffice it to say that it was very interesting to watch that, knowing how we know that professional sports is bred in circuses, and that Vegas and the money lines and a lot of that stuff is, I don't know. I'm
not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying some people throw plays, some people throw fights.
No.
And then there's some big people involved, but I'm saying that the people that you think these guys go out in the field and they're scripting everything to like as an entertainment aspect, that's not happening. I know that for a fact.
Well, check
friends
this out.
that are coaches in the NFL that are like, dude, we're out there working every day. I mean, it's not like that. Now, are there shitbags that throw plays and throw fights? Yes.
Check this out. So this was sent to me a few weeks ago, and I was like, no way. I'm calling bull, right? I go, I'm researching this for myself. So I went, looked for the videos, confirmed all these things. Have you guys heard about the Alex Smith and Joe Theismann connection?
No.
So check this out. This is just, I'm telling you, everybody that's watching on FluffTube right now, get ready. You're about to go, oof, right? Joe Theismann, Alex Smith, both playing for the Washington Redskins, right? On November 18th, 1985, Joe Theismann breaks his leg. Specifically, it gets broken by
Lawrence Taylor.
It's Lawrence Taylor.
On Monday Night Football. I watched that game.
So it's November 18th, 1985. So this is what happens. Theismann gets tackled. His right tackle takes an injury early in the game, so the right tackle, who's also I think all-pro player, gets out of the game. The next play is when he gets hit by Lawrence Taylor, breaks his right tibia and fibula at the 39-yard line. November 18th, 1985. Let's forward the clock. November 18th, 2018. Alex Smith is right tackle, who's a Pro Bowler, comes out of the game. The next play, J.J. Watt, who Hall of Famer, right? Tackles Alex Smith, breaks his right leg, tibia and fibula at the same 39-yard line.
I mean, could it be a coincidence? I mean,
it could be. Both games ended with the exact same score, 23 to 21. Both injuries happened at the exact yard marker. The only difference between the two games is one of them the Washington Redskins won, one of them the Washington Redskins lost. And here's the unique part. November 18th of 85 to November 18th of 2018 is 33 years apart.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm more in the belief that I don't think that was planned, more so than it's like a glitch in the matrix type of thing. Like it's just the same kind of circumstances and results happened at that 33 years apart. Like, because it's our universe is mathematical, and like just it had to happen that way. Does that make sense? Here's something here's something that freaks me out, bro. My career, I was 36-0, 3-6, right? 9. That's when I was at my peak. I couldn't be beat. I was knocking out everybody. Then things happened to me that just threw me into like a spiral of just emotional. I was distraught. I was a head case. I was really a head case my whole career, but really towards the end there, I was really a head case. Okay, so like at the end there, I lost against 2 opponents that I should have destroyed, both having the exact same record. Exact. You couldn't. It wasn't like they both were 20-0. They were both, and I can't remember the record. I think it was 27-17 and 3 draws. To have 3 draws each is like that's unheard of. Back to back, 27 wins, 17 losses, each having that same record. I couldn't mix and match this, dude. There's no way you could find these 2 guys having the exact same records back to back with that kind of record. To me, this is like another weird synchronicity that's happened in my life that I'm like, okay, I was supposed to exit the sport. Like it was a confirmation to me that this was mathematically supposed to happen. What the numbers add up to, I can't figure out to this very day. But the fact that they both had that same friggin' record and they both beat me back to back after I was 36-0. And I don't know, dude. I cannot, more so than me being beat, being knocked out, the mathematics of it, the number, the record is what's like a splinter in my mind, like the Matrix. I'm like, this is crazy. Like they could not have the exact same mix and match of that kind of record, identical, back to back. It's just stuff like that, and that's the glitch in the Matrix.
You got to pay attention to that stuff, and that's probably why we find ourselves where we find ourselves right now. Because when we got put into this matrix, there's something that got plugged in with our software. The day that I got sworn in full time with my agency, it was June the 6th, 2006. 666. And then look at the way the career ends. You got to pay attention to those. But for those that just heard Nino's story, want to know more about it, go get my man's book, right?
I didn't know you had my book.
All right, go. Maybe Nino will sign yours. He still doesn't sign mine, but that's okay. Go when the lights go out. Go support this man.
Oh, well, you should have given it to me when I went out there. I would have had him sign it for you. You signed one for my.
And we all got to get together again. In fact, Alpha, you need to come down with Ron because we're going to do more border videos.
100%. Leave an honest review, and in the review, make sure you make a note to Nino the next time. Add more pictures. All right.
That's for Marines.
In certain chapters.
That's for Marines.
Well, let's. I would not say the whole NFL is rigged, but I would say there's players that throw plays.
I just want to say one thing, in reference to a certain day in 2001 in September, you don't need a whole government to do things. You only need key people in key positions to make things happen. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's in everything. It's in everything. So I wanted to talk about financial stuff this podcast. So let's jump into that real quick. I'm going to share the screen for a second. Right here it says, boom. So will commercial real estate trigger the next crisis? The latest inflation figures in the United States look relatively positive, with a slight decline in annualized inflation rates. However, only 3 items of the CPI components declined in December. So, you know, my family owns some commercial real estate, and retail sales plummeted in January, which tells me, you guys, we're on our way. I mean, everything is exactly just like we're talking about synchronicities. Everything's happening just like the Depression. We go into this massive depression, and then what pulls us out of it? War. I mean, is that what it's mirroring the same thing? And I think people need to really get ready and understand that that's where we're headed in this. Do you agree with that, Ron and Alpha?
Absolutely, I agree with that. If you look at just the history of our country, you know, every time we're approaching some type of financial crisis, or we're already in some type of financial crisis, how do we save ourselves out? Military conflict. It's always been the solution. Why is this time going to be any different? And especially approaching an important day in November this year, they need to protect this economy. But then I also operate under the mindset that, you know, both sides of those colored hats want this economy to collapse to institute the new system. So I think
we have to get rid of the old system.
Yeah. So I think the one thing that's inevitable is this current system is going to collapse.
But what scares me is that as all this is happening, and Ron, I know you're huge on crypto and all that, as all this is happening, man, I am thinking they're going to implement the draft again. I'm thinking I'm in the belief that they're going to go ahead and get Generation Z. Like, they better pull themselves away from their phones, because I think that we will see a draft. I think it's very possible.
Yeah, you're good.
So yeah, when you went full screen, for some odd reason, I had a couple of videos that were playing out loud, and I couldn't. I had to mute myself. Anyway,
at least it wasn't porn.
Exactly. Yeah, that would have been highly embarrassing, right? Well, yeah, it was Alpha's OnlyFans paid.
It was Ron watching the sisters.
Hey, whatever. The let's see, what was I saying? You know, talking about the draft, you know what I mean, you know, remember back in Vietnam when the draft was, you know, they had the draft and a lot of people went, but I mean, the quality of man in the 1960s was a totally different quality of the men in, you know, now. You know, I don't see boys of today going and lining up for the draft. I just don't.
Somebody mentioned this.
What do you mean lining up for the draft? There is no lining up for the draft. They just call your number, don't they? I mean, I don't
yeah, but just because they call your number doesn't mean you go.
Well, we're also operating under the mindset that the draft would operate the way it did the first time, which is going after these young guys. And something that somebody brought up to me in one of these digital spaces on X was, what if they change the draft and there's no age restriction on there, and they go and start targeting prior veterans?
That's if we lose 24, man. Look, I expect all that to come to fruition if we. This is the like Mr. T has said. This is the final battle, dude. This is it. So like, yeah, I'm very optimistic. I think we beat the dick off them, and then because I see us winning. But if they have it their way, you're right. There will be no age restriction. Everyone goes.
Because here's the thing. They don't want to get rid of these new generations, because these new generations have signed off. They agree with the wokeness that's out there. So why would you want to eliminate that group? Assuming that the black hats are, you know, getting their way, you would want to get rid of the ones like us, our age group, the ones that are still the resistance. You know, and before we, you know, abandon the conversation on the economy, a few days ago, it was, I believe, on the 11th or the 12th, when the Japanese yen dropped to 132 against the dollar. That's a 20-year low. Now, when was the last time that you saw the Japanese yen drop like this? And it's going to have to do with the conflict that we had against Russia. And because of that drop, that stabilization that took place around it kind of prevented nuclear war and all that taking place. So are we seeing that
talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Well, what are you talking about? The
you
Operation,
said
Operation Northwood?
But no, I'm talking about you said conflict. Was it the conflict?
No, I'm talking about the prevention that we would have went into World War III. You had the tensions between China and Russia. It was I don't remember exactly how they were cooperating when it came to the finances. I'd have to go back. This was information that was given to me, so I don't want to say it backwards. But you had China and Russia that were working together. Wasn't like they are with BRICS now, but there was some type of organization where they're helping each other's economies. We're on the brink of going into it. It might have, the Cuban Missile Crisis might have played into this, but because of that yen dropping the way it did and the way it destabilized the power from China having in that region, it kind of prevented World War III from taking place. Is that making sense or not?
Well, what was the year? Can you tell me the year?
Let me look it up.
Because if you tell me the year, then I'll tell you what was going on.
Give me 1 second.
Because if you're talking about 1967, then it would have been the Vietnam War, and that was when the
no, this was before then.
Okay, so 63 was the or 62 was the Cuban Missile Crisis. But we also had you also had the Chinese and the Chinese and the Russians working together with Korea as well.
Look at this though. According to Moody's, major U.S. banks are sitting on 650 billion in unrealized losses. I mean, when is the last time we were in that situation? Dude, 650 billion in unrealized losses.
Dude, we're sitting on. I mean, this is a powder keg that is going to blow, and and I agree with Alpha from the standpoint that both the good guys and the bad guys need this to happen. They have to have it. It has to happen, and that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen anybody move. I get so many. I see so many people on my channel when I do things, and I talk about current events and whatever, and we're talking about that whatever they'll call it the white hats and things of that nature. People just say, oh, well, we've been struggling this forever. It's like, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And I'm like, first of all, it's like, well, when did you wake up? How long have you been awake? You've been awake for what, 2 years? You've been awake for 3 years? You've been awake for what, 5 years? Should have been awake for 20 years. And I know people that have been awake for a whole lot longer than that. So it's like, spare me with it's not going to happen. And, you're struggling with all this stuff. I mean, this stuff has been going on for a long time. And it's, it's building up to a crescendo now. But like you said, Alpha, and I think you're 100% correct. We have to see chaos. We have to see chaos happen before.
From my understanding is that we are coming in for a crash landing. It's just about how many people will survive.
I agree with that. But I mean, the people who are out there who are complaining that it's taking forever. It's like, you don't know. You have no idea how long this has been going on. Yeah.
Look at here. Retail sales tumbled 0.8% in January, much more than expected. Advanced retail sales declined 0.8% for January, down from 0.4 gain in December, and worse than an estimate for a 0.3% drop. Sales of buildings and garden stores were especially weak, sliding 4.1%. Miscellaneous stores sales fell 3%, and motor vehicle parts and retailers saw a 1.7% decrease. Also, initial claims from unemployment insurance totaled 212,000 for the week ended February 10th, a decline of 8,000 from the previous week's upwardly revised total and below the estimate for 220,000. Jeez.
Yeah, but how much of these sales dropping is also a result of all the theft and looting that's taking place? Because we're talking like millions of dollars of retail theft that's taking place, where a lot of these stores lost a lot of stuff. So I mean, that has to have had some effect on their sales as well.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I mean, it's just, and we're in February, and this year's already started off explosive. Look at all the shootings that has happened in 24 hours, man. And right when the Spygate stuff comes out, all the stuff that's coming out, it's like, man, they always got to intercept it or steal the news cycle and spin off their narratives of just smoke and mirrors. This is just going to keep picking up, right, Ron? I mean, this is just going to
I agree.
there's no stopping this.
It's as it's the D5 avalanche, right? I mean, it's just going to keep on going and keep on building and keep on building, and there's no stopping it. You cannot stop an avalanche. You just can't, and it is going to continue, and as sad as I hate to say this, but I mean, it's going to get really, really ugly. I bought. I think I spent like $1,400 yesterday buying cat food because I'm not gonna be stuck without. Yeah,
$1,400 on cat food.
Because to make sure that I've got enough food for at least another 6 months.
You know that you can put them outside and they'll survive. They can eat mice and bugs and shit.
Rats and bugs.
Because I'm breeding the Bengals now, so I can't put them outside.
Am I gonna get a Bengal?
Yeah, I told you yet.
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Could have spent $1,400 and get alpha beef jerky. Would have survived me for 6 months, bro.
No, man, I
loves his cats.
I love those cats, man. I do love those cats. The crazy cat man.
Cats are evil, bro.
The crazy cat man.
Yeah.
You know what? I used to be right there with you, Alpha. But now I'm a cat owner. Only because I couldn't let that little sucker die on the side of the road. Well, he was in the middle of the street, cars were going over him, and he was just a little kitten. I mean, would you pass him up, dude? Come on. I mean, he was sitting there in a little ball shivering. I saw him shivering. I threw a U-turn and blocked traffic myself and got out and scooped him up like a shortstop, dude. Now he lives here. He's a king. He's awesome. He's awesome.
Freaking awesome cat.
Would I've passed him up?
Yeah,
no, man.
You're a dick. You would have
passed him up. I would have went. Tunk.
Oh man!
People who trash on cats are people who have never had a cat.
I'll agree with that because now I did not care about cats at all until this one.
Ron knows why I hate cats. Cats will kill me. So that's why. So, but
are you allergic?
He's definitely allergic.
I'm allergic too, but I haven't been to this one.
Yeah.
I used to cry and runny nose and cough.
Too. You're taking your 60.
For everybody that's in the chat, that's like, oh my God, Alpha said he'll run over the cat. That's what I got for you right there. That's what I got for you.
I didn't even hear what you just did. What'd you do? I heard something in the background.
Oh, the sound effect doesn't come through for you?
No.
Oh man.
It was farted or something.
There was a baby crying. Here, let me try it one more time, see if you get it.
No.
Oh, man, bummer you guys can't
hear
it. So freaking Zoom. Zoom doesn't want to pick up the sound effects. That's okay.
What is it? Can you hear this?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So hold on. I think I heard something, but let's talk about briefly and with a broad stroke, NATO.
Okay.
Because that's what I really wanted to talk about. And we're going to take that over to Nino's Corner.tv, but let's just go with a broad stroke over right now for the audience so they get some kind of understanding of what's happening. Ron, I mean, you're the one that
why don't I play I can play this. I can play the two clips because those are public knowledge. And then that way it's like a teaser for the people. And then from that point, then we can go over and talk about it. How's that?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. So let me share my screen here.
While you're doing that, it was Operation Northwood. So I think you're actually right about the Cuban Missile Crisis room.
Yeah, well, Northwoods, what they wanted to do with Northwoods was Lemnitzer presented JFK with Northwoods, and he said, "Get the hell out of here! I ain't doing that." And that was right about the time that he fired Lemnitzer as Joint Chiefs of Staff, and he fired That was right after Bay of Pigs, and then he fired Dulles, and yeah, that was. But then so that was like, I think it was at 61 or 62. So, all right. So here we go. Can you?
Crates inside of the crates are.
All right. Why is this? I.
So I mean, we got to really put in perspective here. Like this chick could be lying, and just trying to do clickbait. I mean, let's really got to put that out there because I don't know if I really believe this chick. She's kind of a.
Well, I'm going to push back
Read
against her, so you'll see.
So, if you've heard anything like that, I'm just saying, if you guys remember what happened in the pallets of weapons just showing up, got to tell you guys this story. I have a friend who has a friend. The friend's husband owns a hotel. The hotel is in Nevada. They get a call from the government that says, hey, we want to take up 75% of your occupancy. Here's the contract. Here's how much we want to pay you. And they said, okay. So next thing they know, they get a whole busload of immigrants, but not just immigrants, men under the age of 35 years old, right? So weird enough as it is, but then he gets an envelope in the mail, and the envelope in the mail has 2 keys in it. I know this sounds like a crazy movie, doesn't it? It has 2 keys in it. And they say, when the crates arrive, open the crates with the 2 keys, pass everything out that's in the crates. So they're thinking, okay, supplies, whatever. I'm just passing this along. It's only a third-hand story, so.
Okay, so there was that, and then there was this. I hate this because I don't know how to. I don't know if it's going to start in the middle or not.
Its ability to reinforce.
I'm going to wait for a second because I think it's. I will see it when it starts, or because I don't know how to like make this thing start from scratch.
You're a boomer.
I don't know. I know nothing about Instagram. Would you just refresh the page or what?
No, it's just let it replay.
The kickoff of Exercise Steadfast Defender 2024, which commenced.
I'll reload it and see if that does it.
Hit the mute button.
Ron, you're failing. You're fired.
Steadfast Defender 2024, which commences next week and runs through May. Steadfast Defender 24 will be the largest NATO exercise in decades, with participation from approximately 90,000 forces from all 31 allies, plus our good partner, Sweden. The alliance will demonstrate its ability to reinforce the Euro-Atlantic area via transatlantic movement of forces from North America. This reinforcement will occur during a simulated emerging conflict scenario against a near-peer adversary. Steadfast Defender 24 will be a clear demonstration of our unity, our strength, and our determination to protect each other, to protect, of course, our values and the rules-based international order.
Okay, so there's that. So 2 things. The chick from the hotel. I mean, we've heard lots of stories like that. That's the first story I've ever heard where they're talking about immigrants are being handed.
Yeah, but I mean that kind of conversation I really want to pull back because
I understand. I'm pulling that back. I'm just saying.
And we don't even know if that video is just clickbait. She could just be
100%.
She said a friend of a friend. It's like, oh, I heard from a friend of a friend.
You were 1,000%. You were 1,000% correct. I'm not saying.
So I don't buy it, to be honest with you. Not her.
I call 1,000% BS on that one.
Me too.
And the reason being,
and that's fine.
I have a friend that owns a hotel out there who's pissed off about the predicament that they got put in with the government for these things. So that part is true. Like that they are putting these people in hotels and overtaking like that. But
yeah, but the whole hotel, well, they're not gonna have the hotel owner hand out.
And
here's the grenade. I know how to handle them. Here you go. Oh, you get an AR. Here you go. Here's an AR. Oh, yeah. Well, let me see what I got for you. Hold on 1 second. Oh, I got a rocket launcher. Here you go. Bullshit.
Well, here's the other thing. You're not going to send keys to these crates through the mail when mail's trackable, because now you can find out where those keys came from, who put it in there. There's evidence.
Yeah.
And the other thing, if anybody knows crates, especially crates that transport things that go pew pew, those they're fairly large.
They are.
You're not going to have one lock on them. at all. If you're gonna have locks on, you're gonna have several locks that are on them, but most of the time they're gonna be nailed shut or something like that, depending what the crate is. So it's that story just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's dumb.
All right. And listen, I again, I just was playing it just for just because I saw it. Okay, I don't look at Instagram that was sent to me, but the NATO general, that is legit, because that's a NATO general, right? That was the head of NATO, and he's talking about and I'm just going to leave it at this. They do not. He said it's starting next week. That's like this coming week, and it's running through May. That's 3 months. No way. I was in the military. Alpha was in the military. You do not have a 3-month exercise. There's another word for that. It's called deployment.
Let's talk about that on Nino's Corner. Stop it right there, because I want to go deep into this. Let's talk about this on Nino's Corner.tv, because I know where we're going to go with this. Yeah. And all right, folks, I'll see you over at Nino's Corner.tv. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Alpha. I'll send you guys another link. Let's dive into this, because this is serious.
Okay.